10 singers who were murdered, not died tragically, not passed away under mysterious circumstances, murdered. And in every single case on this list, the world did the one thing it should never have done. It shrugged, played their music on the radio, and moved on. Old engineer in the train, sleeping in the shed. Some of these cases went cold. Some of them never even got warm. Some of them produced official verdicts that hold up about as well as wet cardboard in a rainstorm. These are the voices we lost, and the silence we settled for after they were gone. Number 10, Bobby Fuller. I Fought the Law. You know that song. It's been covered so many times that most people don't even know who made it famous. The Clash did it, Green Day ran it into the ground, but the version that made it a rock and roll standard, the version that cracked the Billboard Top 10 in early 1966, that belonged to Bobby Fuller and the Bobby Fuller Four. He was 23 years old. He had a movie credit. He had national radio play. He had a future that looked in the spring of 1966 like it was just getting started. By July 18th of that same year, he was dead. Here's what the official record says. His body was found in the front seat of his mother's Oldsmobile, parked in a lot outside his Hollywood apartment. He was soaked in gasoline. There was a gas can in the car. The initial ruling was suicide. Then it was changed to accidental asphyxiation. Then, when pressed, investigators essentially admitted that the original cause of death was based on the circumstances surrounding the scene rather than anything definitive found in the autopsy. A formal case review, commissioned by the LA County Coroner's Office in 2008, found that the original findings couldn't be fully explained by the evidence. And here's what doesn't square with any version of this. Bobby Fuller, by every account from the people who knew him, was not depressed. He wasn't suicidal. He just filmed a movie. He had momentum. His body showed signs consistent with a beating. His brother Randy spent decades trying to get answers, wrote an entire book about it in 2015, and pointed to music industry figures with organized crime connections. The name Morris Levy, the so-called godfather of the music business and Roulette Records owner, comes up more than once. Nobody was ever charged. Nobody was ever questioned seriously. And Lapped investigator reportedly dismissed the case because Bobby was, I'm not embellishing this, just a rock and roll punk who killed himself. And the world, which had just been singing along to his song for 6 months, just accepted that. Every time someone covers I Fought the Law, Bobby Fuller's name isn't in the first sentence of the story. It should be. Number 9, Peter Tosh. But he could play his guitar like a ringing up bell, yeah. If you know the Wailers, you know Bob Marley, but there were 3 of them. Bob Marley, Bunny Wailer, and Winston McIntosh, who the world knew as Peter Tosh. And of the 3, Peter Tosh was the most uncompromising, the most militant, the most willing to stare at the world's institutions and call them exactly what they were. Equal rights, stepping razor, legalize it. These weren't songs asking for anything. They were demands. September 11th, 1987. Tosh is at his home on Barbican Road in Kingston, Jamaica. It's a quiet evening. He and his partner, Marlene Brown, and a group of close friends, watching television, winding down. Then the door opens. Dennis Laubin, a man Peter Tosh had tried to help, who had stayed at this house after his release from prison, who had eaten food at this table, walked in with two armed accomplices. They ordered everyone to the floor. They demanded money. And when it ended, Peter Tosh was dead at 42. Jeff Free Eye Dixon, a beloved Jamaican radio DJ who happened to be visiting, was killed. Wilton Brown was killed. Marlene Brown was shot in the head. She survived by playing dead lying still while one of the gunmen noticed she was still breathing, and Laban waved him off and told him to leave. She testified to all of it. Dennis Laban was convicted on all 3 counts of murder in one of the shortest jury deliberations in Jamaican legal history. 5 minutes. Sentenced to death, later commuted to life imprisonment. His 2 accomplices were never identified and never caught. You know what the comparison is that I can't shake? When Bob Marley died in 1981, the world built a mythology around it. Documentaries, retrospectives, a legacy industry that is still generating revenue. Peter Tosh, co-creator of that same music, founding member of that same group, every bit as essential, was shot dead in his own living room 6 years later, and the mainstream music world barely broke stride. Maybe that's the industry's quiet verdict on what happens to the voices that refuse to make peace. Real talk. Only 9% of you are subscribed. That hurts. We're spending hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life. And if you're watching this far, you clearly care. So hit subscribe. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Now, to my subscribers, barely any of you have joined the membership. And honestly, that stings even more. You know the work we put in. You keep coming back. If these videos have ever made you feel something, if this music means something to you, join the membership. It's $1 coffee a month, and it's the only way we keep this going. Let's build this together. All right, back to it. Number 8, Selena Quintanilla. By 1995, Selena Quintanilla was the biggest Latin music star in the United States. That's not hyperbole. That's the industry consensus. That's the crowd sizes. That's the Grammy she'd just won. She was 23 years old. She had just completed recording tracks for her first English-language crossover album, and everyone in the industry who had watched her work knew exactly what that moment was going to mean. It was going to be massive. March 31st, 1995, Selena goes to a Days Inn motel in Corpus Christi. She's there to confront Yolanda Saldivar, the woman she had trusted to run her fan club and manage her boutiques, trusted with full financial access, trusted to handle the daily operations of her business, and, by extension, a significant piece of her future. So I wait for the day. Evidence had emerged that Saldivar was embezzling. Selena went to retrieve the records. Saldivar shot her once in the back as she walked toward the door and tried to leave. Selena made it into the hallway. She collapsed in the motel lobby and told the front desk staff exactly who had shot her. She died at Corpus Christi Memorial Hospital a short time later. All I have are dreams of you. Saldivar barricaded herself in a truck in the parking lot for 9 hours before surrendering. She was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. That 30-year mark arrived in 2025. Here's the part that still lands hard. The English crossover album Selena never got to fully release. Dreaming of You came out posthumously and debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. That sentence is one of the saddest in music history. She crossed over. The music got there. She didn't. And if you've ever felt the weight of a generation of fans who grew up watching their biggest star get taken at the exact moment the world was finally ready to receive her, you know this belongs on this list. Number 7, Marvin Gaye. What's going on? Let's get it on. Sexual healing. I heard it through the grapevine. One of the most complete artists the 20th century produced. The voice, the songwriting, the willingness to turn an album into a statement about war and poverty, and the state of the human soul. That's who we're talking about. April 1st, 1984, one day before Marvin Gaye's 45th birthday. He's at the family home in Los Angeles. His parents are fighting, a long-running, low-grade tension in a house that had always had violence close to the surface. Marvin steps in to defend his mother. He and his father get physical. The fight breaks up. Minutes later, Marvin Gaye Sr. walks back into the room carrying a .38 caliber revolver. And here's the detail you need to hold in your head. That was a gun Marvin Gaye himself had given his father 3 months earlier. He bought it to protect the family. That same gun fired twice. The first bullet pierced Marvin Gaye's heart. His father then walked closer and fired again. His brother Frankie later reported that Marvin's last words were, "I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it." There's a whole separate conversation in that, about depression, about a man who may have wanted out. But here's what the legal system decided. Marvin Gaye Sr. was initially charged with first-degree murder. During the proceedings, a small brain tumor was discovered, subsequently removed. The charge was reduced to voluntary manslaughter. He received a 6-year suspended sentence and 5 years of probation. He served 0 days in prison. He was home within months. You can write some of the most important albums in American music history. You can give the world what's going on at a moment when the world desperately needed someone to say exactly that. And the man who takes your life can walk out of a courtroom and go home. That sentence, and the silence the world settled for after it was handed down. Number 6, Jam Master Jay. Let's make a real jam master. Kick off, jump on the job, listen to the jam. October 30th, 2002, a recording studio in Jamaica, Queens. Jason Mizell, Jam Master Jay, the DJ whose turntable work made Run DMC the first hip-hop act to go platinum, who helped engineer the collision of rap and rock that permanently changed both genres, is shot and killed at 37 years old. There are people in the room. The witnesses don't talk for years. If you've ever been in a situation where speaking up carried consequences that felt heavier than justice, you at least understand the shape of what happened in the years after Jason Mizell's death. The investigation stalled. Leads went nowhere. The community that surrounded hip-hop at that time pulled into itself and stayed quiet. And for nearly 2 decades, the murder of one of the founding architects of hip-hop culture sat officially unsolved. In 2020, 18 years later, the Department of Justice charged 2 men, Ronald Washington, a childhood friend of Mizell's, and Carl Jordan Jr., who had been Mizell's own godson. The prosecution's theory was built around a drug deal gone wrong. He's Jam Master Jay, the big beat blaster. He gets better. As Run DMC's commercial moment had faded in the 90s, prosecutors alleged Mizell had supplemented his income through cocaine distribution. When he cut Washington and Jordan out of a Baltimore deal, they allegedly conspired to kill him. In February 2024, both men were convicted. Then in December 2025, a federal judge overturned Carl Jordan Jr.'s conviction, ruling that prosecutors had failed to adequately establish his specific motive for the killing. Ronald Washington's conviction was upheld. A third defendant, Jay Bryant, whose DNA was found at the scene, is still awaiting trial. That we amazed, and we got the master of a disco scratch. So here's the accounting. 22 years before a verdict, and then part of that verdict was taken back. Jason Mizell's family has been living in that math for 2 decades. The man who built the bridge that let hip-hop walk into the mainstream deserved a cleaner resolution than this. And somewhere in the distance between 2002 and wherever this case finally ends, the world moved on. It played Walk This Way. It moved on. Number 5. Big L. Lamont Coleman. If you've gone even moderately deep into hip-hop, not just the surface, but a few albums past the obvious, you've heard his name in a sentence that usually starts with one of the greatest lyricists who ever. He debuted on Columbia Records in 1995. By 1999, he had signed with Rockefeller Records, Jay-Z's label, and was building toward the kind of national moment that his almost supernatural facility with language had always been capable of generating. February 15th, 1999, Harlem. Lamont Coleman, Big L, was shot multiple times on West 139th Street near his home. He was 24 years old. The case has never been solved. And here's what you don't fully register until you sit with it. Big L was not a cult artist waiting to be discovered by later generations. He was already known, in the right rooms, among the people who actually tracked where lyricism was going. His freestyle work was the kind that made other rappers pause mid-sentence and reconsider what was possible. His catalog was small because he was 24. The catalog that was coming, the one that Rockefeller was about to put full resources behind, never existed. If you've ever tried to explain to someone who wasn't paying attention in 1999 what that loss actually meant, you know how difficult it is to describe a potential that never got to be a reality. You can play them the recordings that exist, you can watch their face change, but you can't give them the full shape of what Lamont Coleman was building toward, because it never got to take shape. His killer was never brought to justice. The mainstream press barely noticed the loss at the time. The hip-hop community has carried it ever since. And if you're nodding right now, you probably have a pretty good idea which song you're going to pull up when this video ends. When I put it on, so put it on, Big L, put it on. Come on, put it on. Number 4, Biggie Smalls. March 9th, 1997, 6 months after Tupac Shakur died in Las Vegas. The music world was still trying to understand what that meant. And then, Christopher Wallace, the notorious B.I.G., is leaving an industry party in Los Angeles. It's after midnight.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, salt and pepper and heavy.
A black Chevrolet Impala pulls alongside his vehicle at a red light. 4 shots are fired through the driver's window. He is pronounced dead at 1:15 in the morning at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. He is 24 years old. No one has ever been arrested. Not in 1997. Not today. In 2026, nearly 29 years later.
It's the magic Molly Mall. I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed a bit.
The Lapidus investigation ran into walls that critics have spent decades arguing were not walls. They were doors that were deliberately closed. Former lap detective Russell Poole, who spent years investigating the case, concluded that the murder involved rogue officers with connections to death row records.
In my baby girl ear, lunches, brunches, interviews by the pool.
He spent the rest of his life trying to get someone in authority to take that seriously. He died in 2019, inside a sheriff's department conference room, still working the case. A civil trial in 2005 collapsed after revelations that key evidence had been deliberately withheld from the Wallace family's legal team.
Wet and Alizé keep me pissy. Girls used to diss me, now they write letters cause they miss me.
Biggie's mother, Voletta Wallace, spent nearly 3 decades as the most tireless and visible advocate for justice for her son. She filed lawsuits. She gave interviews. She refused to let the case become a footnote. She died in February 2025. She never saw an arrest. She never saw a trial. She went to her grave without an answer.
Gats and stuff, now honeys play me close like butter play toast from the Mississippi.
If you were paying attention to music in 1996 and 1997, if you were in those rooms when hip-hop was becoming the defining cultural force of a generation, you know how large Christopher Wallace loomed.
Free, funk, master flex, love bug, star ski. I'm blowing up like you thought I...
His murder is not a side story. It is one of the most infamous open cases in American criminal history, and as of today, it remains exactly that, open, unsolved, and moving no closer to resolution. The world released his posthumous album. It went diamond. It moved on.
Time to get paid, blow up like the world's trade. Born sinner, the opposite of...
Number 3, Tupac Shakur.
I'm a jail cell, and who thinking elementary? Hey.
September 7, 1996, Las Vegas, Nevada. The Mike Tyson versus Bruce Seldon fight has just ended at the MGM Grand. Tupac Shakur and Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight are heading out in a BMW.
I moved out, started really hanging. I needed money of my own, so
At a traffic light on Flamingo Road, a white BMW pulls alongside. Multiple gunshots. Tupac is hit 4 times. He is rushed to University Medical Center and survives for 6 days. He dies September 13, 1996, at 25 years old. Now hold this timeline in your head. September 1996 to September 2023 is 27 years. That is how long it took for anyone at all, to be arrested and charged in connection with the most famous murder in hip-hop history.
and it's to show you that I understand. You all appreciate it.
Dwayne Keffy D. Davis had not exactly been hiding. He had given interviews describing his alleged role. He wrote a memoir. He appeared in a documentary and described, with some specificity, what had allegedly happened in that car.
That's right. Mama catch me, put a whooping to my backside.
He called himself the shot caller. His nephew Orlando Anderson, for years the prime suspect identified by investigators, was himself killed in an unrelated shooting in 1998. Others allegedly in the car were also deceased. Davis was the last man standing.
With the big boys breaking all the rules. Shed tears with my baby sister.
And in September 2023, Las Vegas police finally moved. He was arrested, charged with orchestrating the drive-by shooting that killed Tupac Shakur. His trial, after multiple delays and legal complications, is currently scheduled for August 2026.
I moved out, started really hanging. I needed money of my own, so
Right now, as this video exists in the world, the first and only criminal trial for Tupac Shakur's murder is approaching. 27 years of theories, documentaries, conspiracies, hologram concerts, and anniversary specials, and the courtroom is only arriving now. That's the math on what the world moved on actually looks like sometimes. It doesn't mean nobody talked about it. It means the actual machinery of justice moved at a pace that required an entire generation to grow up and have children before it even considered answering for what happened on Flamingo Road.
and it's to show you that I understand. You all appreciate it.
Number 2, John Lennon. December 8, 1980, the Dakota, New York City, John Lennon and Yoko Ono are returning home from a late recording session. Mark David Chapman is standing outside the building.
I wonder if you can.
Earlier that same day, Lennon had stopped and signed an autograph for Chapman, signed his own album for the man who would kill him hours later. 5 shots fired. 4 hit Lennon in the back as he walked through the entrance. He was pronounced dead on arrival at Roosevelt Hospital. He was 40 years old.
You may say I'm a dream.
Chapman pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in 1981 and was sentenced to 20 years to life. He has appeared before a parole board 14 times since becoming eligible in 2000. He has been denied 14 times. His most recent denial came in August 2025, the board ruling he lacked genuine remorse or meaningful empathy for his victims. His next hearing is scheduled for 2027. Yoko Ono, now in her 90s, has submitted a letter opposing release to every single one of those hearings. Sean Lennon has had to relive December 8, 1980 on a 2-year cycle for his entire adult life. Now here's the part I keep coming back to. John Lennon spent the last decade of his life advocating for disarmament, for peace, for the idea that the culture of violence surrounding us is a choice that civilizations make, not a law of nature.
Something to kill or die for.
Imagine is not a radical song, it's a reasonable one, and for nearly 50 years it has been played at every vigil, every memorial, every moment of collective grief in the English-speaking world. The song has been received, the message inside it has not been.
Above us only sky.
The gun laws in the country that allowed Mark David Chapman to purchase a firearm and walk to a Manhattan sidewalk have not materially changed in the decades since.
You may say I'm a dream.
Lennon died for a point the world keeps memorializing without ever quite accepting. Chapman is still alive, John Lennon is not. That is the math. And 14 times, and counting, the world has had to be reminded of it. Number 1, Sam Cooke. December 11th, 1964. The Hacienda Motel, South Figueroa Street, Los Angeles. Sam Cooke is 33 years old. He has 29 singles in the Billboard Top 40. He has built SAR Records, his own independent label, with distribution infrastructure, giving him a level of ownership almost no black artist had achieved in that era.
And you find the hole in yon, twisting the night away. There.
He has just recorded A Change Is Gonna Come, which will become one of the most important documents the civil rights movement ever produced. He is, by the assessment of nearly everyone watching him in late 1964, on the verge of becoming something larger than a music star, a figure with the cultural and financial power to fundamentally shift how the industry treated black artists. At 33, at 3 a.m. on December 11th, the Lapt responds to a shooting at the Hacienda Motel. They find Sam Cooke's body in the manager's office. He has been shot in the chest. The official account, as provided by motel manager Bertha Franklin, is as follows. Sam had checked in earlier with a woman named Elisa Boyer. Boyer claimed he had attempted to assault her. She fled with most of his clothing, leaving him disoriented and nearly undressed. Cooke then broke down Franklin's office door looking for Boyer. Franklin shot him in self-defense. Justifiable homicide. A coroner's inquest 5 days later reached that verdict, after a proceeding that barely allowed Sam Cooke's own lawyer to ask a single question. Case closed.
He's moving up and back. Oh man, there ain't nothing like.
Here's what you need to know about the pieces that don't fit. The gun used to shoot Cooke did not match the caliber of the firearm Franklin said she owned. The bullet subsequently went missing.
Man, you ought to see her go. Twisting
into the rock.
Etta James, who viewed Cooke's body at the funeral home, described injuries so extensive, a face nearly beaten beyond recognition, broken hands, a body showing signs of severe trauma, that she stated publicly and in her autobiography that they were wildly inconsistent with the official account of a brief physical struggle in a small office. Sam Cooke's credit cards were never recovered.
The night away. Here they have a lot of fun.
Elisa Boyer, whose testimony was the foundation of the justifiable homicide ruling, was arrested for prostitution within a month of the inquest and in 1979 was convicted of second-degree murder in a separate, unrelated shooting. Bertha Franklin, a former madam with her own criminal record, later sued Cooke's estate and was awarded damages by a court.
Walk away where the people are so gay. Twist and
No one was ever charged with anything. No investigation was ever reopened. RCA released 2 singles and an album within a month of Sam Cooke's funeral. His manager, Alan Klein, went on to take over the business management of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, inheriting much of what Sam had built and pioneered.
dancing with the older queen who's dolled up in.
The civil rights community that had been watching Sam Cooke's growing political voice, that had seen what he might become alongside King and Carmichael and the movement, lost him in a motel room at 3 a.m., and the official story told them not to ask too many questions about why. Sam's biographer, writing for NPR years later, said he could have filled 100 pages with theories about this death, and that within Cooke's community, there is not a single person who believes he died the way the official record says. Not one. That's not a fringe position. That's the consensus of the people who actually knew him.
Twisting the night away. Yeah, twisting.
A Change Is Gonna Come was released as a B-side 2 weeks after he was buried. It became one of the most celebrated songs in American history. The song got the legacy it deserved. The story of his murder got a hasty inquest. A missing bull.
Great, they're twisting, twisting.